The Japanese nuclear scare has prompted the European Union to convene an emergency meeting of ministers, regulators and power companies. The gathering in Brussels will debate the future of Europe's 150 nuclear power plants. Already, Germany has suspended plans to extend the life of its 17 reactors, and Switzerland has reversed a decision to approve 3 new nuclear power stations, so safety standards can be reviewed. Tonight, German Chancellor Angela Merkel announced all 7 of the country's nuclear power plants, which began operation before 1980, would be provisionally shut down. And Britain and France are appealing for calm, as Europe correspondent Emma Alberici reports.
Across Europe, nuclear energy accounts for between 25% and 75% of all power consumption. Governments desperate for a reliable energy source calmed consumer fears by insisting that lessons had been learnt from the Chernobyl disaster. As memories of that fatal explosion began to fade, even green groups embraced nuclear. It was, they said, cleaner than coal. But over one weekend in Japan, all that confidence has been shaken. Protesters called for a rethink of the reliance on nuclear energy. The German Chancellor's reaction was swift.
We know how safe Germany's nuclear power plants are, but it is also true that we cannot yet ignore the importance of nuclear energy as a bridging technology.
Last year, she decided to extend the life of Germany's 17 nuclear power plants. After the Japanese crisis, that decision has been suspended. The Austrian government is leading calls for a safety review of Europe's 150 nuclear plants.
People in Europe, especially in Austria, are frightened, and they ask if the European nuclear power plants are secure. And therefore, I want to have stress tests for European nuclear power plants.
Switzerland has suspended the approvals process for 3 nuclear power stations so it can review its safety procedures. Poland says it will press on. France and Britain are appealing for calm and some perspective.
The biggest earthquake that the UK has ever suffered was back in 1931, and the Japanese earthquake, sorry to say, is 130,000 times stronger than the strongest ever recorded in the UK.
Even before the Fukushima blasts, debate raged about the disposal of nuclear waste. All over Europe, radioactive waste is still being stored on site at power plants above ground in storage facilities. After more than 50 years of nuclear power generation, no deep geological site has been deemed safe enough. This salt mine in Germany, where 126,000 barrels of waste were dumped 40 years ago, water is seeping in fast, and there's a risk that the radioactive material has been contaminated. No solution has been found to that crisis. The situation in Japan has only acted to highlight the challenge. Emma Alberici, Lateline.